So Concord has all this information coming out about it with it shutting down. So it was announced yesterday that after 10 days of being live active on service online, the game is actually going to be shutting down. So it's one of those things that there wasn't enough players to stick around for the game because it is a multiplayer game and it is in the style of Overwatch. So it is one of those things. In order to have a game like this, first person shooter, you are gonna have to have a big customer base. You are gonna have to have a lot of players playing the game, and the fact that that wasn't happening for this game is ultimately what brought it down. So we're just going to go over some of the information. I got a few of these tabs open over here. So Concord to be taken offline on September 6th as Sony Interactive Entertainment determines the best path ahead. So this goes over some of the information that went through. One of the things that kind of shocked me was the fact that at its peak, the game only had 697 concurrent viewers on Steam. So it talks about a PlayStation 5 and Epic Game Stores, the data wasn't available, but the fact that that was what they were at launch definitely isn't a good definitely isn't a good thing. So that was as far as the launch went itself. After the announcement was made that they were going to be shutting down, one of the directors, so yeah, here we go, Concord game director Ryan Ellis had came out with a statement. So we'll go ahead and go over that. So Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC, and want to thank everybody who has joined the journey abroad the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, while many qualifies of the experience I'm sorry, while many qualities of the experience resonate with players, we also recognize that the other aspect of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6, 2024, and explore options including those that will better reach our players. While we would determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PlayStation 5 or PC. If you have purchased the game for PlayStation 5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your original methods. So, just stating that the game pretty much wasn't doing as they expected and it had to shut down. So that was in that response. And then here, I just wanted to go over some of this information right here. So these were the Steam charts in regards to the game itself. So when the game released in the early access in July, it only had a peak concurrent player count of just 1,124 players. So my guess is that's going to be including like everyone for the most part, because as stated in this article over here, the peak concurrent for Steam was 697. So users right now on Steam 584. So this was when it first was announced, or I'm sorry, when it first was launched. And then this right here is when the game went into open beta. It barely improved with peak concurrent of 2,388. So even then, that's still, I mean, definitely it's a lot more than what there was before at its launch. But you got to keep in mind that this was also the beta. So this wasn't even like when the game launched itself. So the numbers, I mean, still they weren't that great in order to keep the fan base going and to keep the game alive. And then when the game released on August 23rd, it only had a peak concurrent of just 697 on Steam. In the past 24 hours, it only hit a peak of 110 players. So you can see right here, there was only 43 players playing, and then yeah. And then I think right before the announcement was made that the game was going to be getting shut down, it was one of those things that they did show the concurrent players on it, and I believe it was only 23. So there was 23 players that were playing this game that had only been released about 10 days ago. So that I feel like should tell you something in regards to how the player base was and as far as how good the game itself was doing. So those are for that, and then I wanted to go over this little article right here as well. So 5 reasons why Concord crashed and burned after just 10 days. So it'll give each one. So Concord has a very generic look and feel. So this is one of the things that a lot of people were talking about, was the fact that yes, it is a newer game, but one of the best things I think I heard was someone say it's a game that came out that was 10 years too late. So pretty much meaning that although it does have the ability to be able to use higher video game, like kind of like Unreal Engine 4 and 5. So even though they do have the programs to make the game look nicer and cleaner, it does still kind of have that feel of like an Overwatch, where it is kind of like an older style game. So I feel like that is one of those things people, obviously they think like, well, yeah, this looks cool and all, but why would I play this when I have Overwatch? And I'm pretty sure if you were to go look at the numbers, Overwatch does have a higher player base count right now than Concord did. Most likely probably even at its peak. So dwindling demands for for Concord type of games. So that's another thing with the market being so big as it is right now with free to play games, like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Warzone, and what was the other one? Apex Legends, stuff like that. If you're gonna have a game like this, you got to make sure that you do something that makes it stand out. Otherwise, like stated before, it's just going to look like an Overwatch ripoff, and that's not something that people are going to really be willing to pay for, especially considering that the game is $40. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Marketing is for just PC and PS5 exclusive. Same thing, another issue. When you look at games like Fortnite, you got to keep in mind that those games do run on every game console, even the Switch. So, like, say if you want Concord to do really well, you more than likely would have had to have been able to give it a Xbox release as well as a release on the Switch. And then, of course, since Xbox and Microsoft and Nintendo, since they are in partnership with one another, that I feel like they don't have an issue working with one another or deciding to, hey, we want to put this with our games into your consoles, vice versa, kind of a thing. So the fact that they only made it so that it was for PC and PS5, that really does exclude your audience and your base that you can go for to get more of a profit. And so there was that. And then no PlayStation Plus for Concord at launch. So it states right here that pretty much it's one of those things like if you were gonna go ahead and have it so that you wanted to launch this for a PlayStation exclusive, you probably were better off just going ahead and putting it part of the PlayStation Plus and having it free to play for certain people that actually signed up for that, because it is one of those things with the $40 price tag. Again, people are gonna see that and they're gonna think like, why am I gonna pay money for this? Like, I don't wanna spend my own hard-earned money on something like this. And then Concord wasn't free to play. So yes, again, the fact that it was a $40 game, while there is so much of the market out there that does have games that are free that you don't have to pay for, that you can have, if just as much a good experience, if not better. So, and then it is one of those things. One of the things I remember hearing about this game, if I'm not mistaken, and believe it was Concord, was that they try to not do with any of the Rule 34, I think it's called, Rule 34. So that's pretty much where if you have like any type of sexual content based on your character, that they didn't want that at all. They wanted that to be not a part of this game. They wanted this game to be considered like a clean game. And that ended up, from what I've heard, that ended up hurting the game itself. Because there is one of those things where the fan bases out there, whenever they do have specific characters in a game, they do, like, as weird as it is to say, characters do want to be able to give their own little look backstory to that character or do their own type of fan art in that regard. And the fact that the game company wasn't allowing that at all, I'm sure it probably turned a lot of players off. Like, well, if you're not gonna let me like kind of do my own little headcanon with these characters, then I really don't care. So that's with that. And then as far as any other information, another thing I wanted to just kind of touch on too on here on that Park Place was that IGN writer Stellar Chung claims PlayStation never believed in Concord after game is shut down for less than 2 weeks. So it just goes over some of the information here, and then it shows the tweet that she had placed. So my heart breaks for Firewalk Studios. The fact that it wasn't even given a 6 month to properly sit through a season and adjust to a proper live service game is insane to me. It's very clear PlayStation didn't believe in this from the start and failed to support it. And to me, I feel like that that's one of those things where it's like you gotta see the writing on the wall. Yeah, 6 months, I'm sure it would have been nice for them to have that time frame, but if the game's only been out for about a week and they were already as bad as they were with the numbers, 43 players, and like I stated, when they had shortly before they announced that it was going to be shutting down, it was at, I believe, 23 players. That's not enough to sustain your game. As much as you want to keep it alive and you want to keep it going, to be able to have 23 players. We'll say even we'll round up. We'll say 80 players, for the next 6 months. That's not good as far as the player base goes. Chances are people will probably be having to sit there and wait for a match for like, I don't know, probably like 10 minutes or so just to be able to play the game. And, how do you expect something to grow like that? And then on top of it, what she states here as well, properly say it for a season. Concord wasn't doing seasons. One of the things about the game that they wanted to do was make sure that you pay the $40 for it, but every type of like update and everything like that for the game was free. It wasn't something that you had to actually repurchase as far as like a battle pass. They didn't do battle passes, they didn't do seasons or any of that type of stuff. They wanted to make it sure that it was a free service after the fact, which in a way is, you got to commend that a bit, because it is nice in a world where everything, is microtransactions and you have to purchase. Then yeah, that is kind of nice, where it's like, oh, you purchase a game once and everything after that should be free for the add-ons. That was a nice thing, but at the end of the day, if no one's playing it, then what's the point of bringing free stuff? Because if you can bring all the free stuff in the world, but if no one's playing it, they're not going to really get experience that free stuff itself. So there's rumors that supposedly the game is gonna switch to free to play, but I was reading some of the articles as well, stating that if they do decide to go that route, the game wasn't designed for free to play. So if they did want to decide to go that route, it would be one of those things they would have to pretty much readjust the whole game itself to try to work around that issue. So more than likely, if they do decide to come out with this game again later on, like if they do decide to bring it back on in services and everything like that, they'll probably have to revamp the whole game itself and retouch it up. So pretty much make it almost different than what it was originally from its launch. So it's insane. The fact that it was only launched, it was only been out for about 10 days after being, from what I heard, 8 years of production. So pretty much 8 years it took them to make this game, and within 10 days they're having to shut it down, shut the servers down, because there's not enough player base. So personally, I think that's insane. I think that's wild. I've heard that this is probably one of the biggest flops, if not the biggest flop in the video game industry. This Many people are speculating that this is actually going to surpass the ET controversy in regards to that game. So crazy times we're living in as far as being a video game fan and being in the video game industry. Who knows if the companies will learn from this? I think they probably will. I think this is kind of an eye opener for them. Well, with regards to, having issues here with Concord, having issues with Dustborn, and then same thing with Fallen Order. Some of these games, and then what was the other one? Forspoken. So some of these games that they're coming out with, that they're just not connecting with the gamers, with the players. These hopefully are going to be some wake up calls for companies like Sony to take a step back and be like, hey, what are we doing wrong? How do we fix this? What can we do to market towards our fan base, towards our customers that actually want this type of stuff? So who knows? More than likely, if we do see it, it probably won't be for a couple of years before some real changes start to be put in place, because of how long it takes for developing to go in regards to video games, to create them and everything like that. So who knows? Hopefully they learn they take some good things from this and actually learn from it, and we can actually get more enjoyable games, more games that aren't, pretty saturated from stuff that we have in the market and that are, pretty bland. And who knows, maybe we can really start getting some new type of games out there again, some like games that really push the limit and are willing to try new things. Wishful thinking, but I'll keep it that way for a long time, because I am a video gamer, I am a fan. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys surprised that this game got shut down? Was it something you guys expected? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, how you guys feel about this. If you can like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Anything you guys do to support this channel, I want to let you guys know I really do appreciate it. It really would mean the world to me, because I really am trying to build this channel. I am trying to see if I can actually make something of this and see if I can continuously give you guys some video game information and video game news. So those are my thoughts on that. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, Harmonic out. Peace.